Hi everyone, I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television, inviting you to this, the very first Missoula Live show of the year 2020. Kim Anderson has the night off. So there's a few MCAT items going on, mostly for kids, roughly between the ages of 9 and 13. One is our Saturday animation drop-in workshops. They are still going on all the way through, but not including Memorial Day weekend. So the deal is you can bring your kids here to MCAT at 500 North Higgins Avenue every Saturday at 1 p.m. and we will keep them entertained learning stop motion animation with Legos, with wireframe, with dry erase, or other drawing materials. They also seem to enjoy very much using our virtual reality. Scott is showing you an example of what goes on every Saturday, 1 to 5 p.m. There is a fee associated with this until we move to the library, and then it'll be absolutely free. The fee is $10 per kid for the 4 hours of activity, or if you bring 2 kids, it's $15 for 2. The program is every Saturday, 1 to 5. MCAT's located at 500 North Higgins Avenue, and for directions, you can call us, 542-6228. In addition to that activity, I would like to draw your attention to our Spring Flicks 2020 movie making camp. This would be from 9 to 3, so it's a substitute for bringing your kids to school from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And it's through the spring break, which begins Monday, March 16th, and it ends Friday, March 20th. The fee for this, which is 5:30 out contact hours, is $150. If you'd like more information, give us a call, 542-6228. And then if you need to leave a message, reference the Spring Flicks 2020. So that's all my news. I would like to point out that Kyle McAfee was going to be here, and he can't. And he was going to talk about A Night with Rusty Cleavers and Friends. This is a hip-hop musical. It's at the new Zootown Arts Community Center, the new ZAC, right over there on West Main Street. And the show is only 2 nights. That's Friday, January 24th, Saturday, January 25th at 7:30 p.m. Okay, that leads me to my first guest. Welcome, Asaph Adonai.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm really humbled to be the very first guest for 2020.
Right?
Isn't that cool?
It's something.
Yes, sir.
So, when we last saw you in the beginning of December, you were beginning your experience at the Southgate Mall as Liberace, right?
Yeah, it was called Liberace in Missoula.
Yeah, and you got in the Missoulian and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it to get as far as it did, but
Yeah.
the reason for it was my 10-year anniversary. That was the reason for it. 10 years, can you believe it?
And that is amazing that you've been playing the mall at the Christmas time.
Yeah, 10 long years, so it was fun. And so we wanted to make it special. So, and of course, we acknowledged Rococo Bridal at the time.
Because they made the costumes, right?
Yeah, they made 4 costumes plus the cape.
Right.
So that was kind of cool.
That is pretty amazing. I wonder if we could show people at home. Scott, I don't know if you could do like a Facebook for Asaph or something to show people some of that costuming. That might be nice.
Yeah, I think there was a
because they made you 4 different outfits, right?
4 costumes and the cape.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm glad that they did that. It's not enough for me to do that to help me pull that off.
And now you have a new gig at the Missoula Public Library. You want to tell people about that?
Yeah, thanks to Honora, she set it up.
That's the library director, Honora Bray.
And I guess whoever's on the staff, the entire staff.
Yeah.
So I'm playing there Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 11 to about 2 or 3.
Okay.
It's my first gig of the year, 2020.
Wow.
And it's pretty cool. I enjoy playing at the library. That's a lot of fun.
And what kind of songs are you playing out of your repertoire there?
Well, I try to do some updated stuff like Miley Cyrus' Wrecking Ball. I created
on,
that.
yeah.
And Michael Jackson's Beat It, which I mentioned the Missoula, and I created those piano versions.
Yeah.
And then just the Sinatra dinner music and Chopin and Beethoven and all the rest.
Yeah, so you like to mix
too.
popular music in with the classics.
Yeah, that's right. And the style that I have, one of my piano teachers, the late Marshall Coswell, he's the one that taught me how to do that. To take any popular song and put a classical spin on it.
Right.
And I trained for a whole year to do that.
Wow.
I practiced and practiced and practiced and
yeah, that makes perfect, as I understand.
Yeah, I'm still working. I want to be Liberace when I grow up.
Right. And you're also doing a series on MCAT called Asaph Stories.
Yeah, Asaph Adonai Stories.
Yeah.
And Scott and I are up to 71 stories now.
Wow.
And so we start recording brand new stories this week, this coming Thursday.
Yeah.
And Bob Denver, the actor that plays Gilligan.
That's going to be your first guy, right?
First story. Yeah, I think he's the perfect person to do a story on for 2020.
And a lot of your stories, now you did a story that I had suggested on Arlene Francis, remember?
Yeah, the lady on What's My Line.
Yeah.
She did that for like 20 years
or
something like that. And her son, Peter Gable, he's a motivational speaker.
Right.
And he actually sent me an email.
Yeah,
said,
he knew
"Thanks."
about it, right?
Yeah, he said, "Thanks, Asaph, for doing that story on my mom."
Isn't that something?
Peter Gable,
And he was
son
going
of
to
Arlene
be
Francis.
he was in Bozeman for
Yeah,
a
they
documentary.
were doing some sort of a documentary tribute to Arlene Francis, or about her, I should say. And it would have been cool if he would have been able to come to Missoula, but I think it would have been impossible with his schedule.
Yeah, it's hard too, like at one time you could travel between the cities in an airplane pretty inexpensively, but not anymore.
I know. That would have been so cool
those,
to have him come
those old
here.
flights,
Mm-hmm.
Well, Scott, can you show people one of the Asaph stories? I think I put a tab in there.
I think it's the
on the
Liberace
YouTube.
one, the last one that Scott and I
Yeah,
did.
here it is, the one you did on Liberace.
Yeah, and you see the cape
That's amazing, right? So this was one of 4 costumes made for you.
And in this particular video, I'll end up wearing all 4 of the costumes.
Oh, is that right?
So on. Yeah.
And there's Liberace in the background, right?
Now, this is Liberace when he was young. Before he did the flamboyant and the candelabra.
Yeah, that's
See, there's
right.
no candelabra.
Before he
in the
had
piano.
like this sort of neo-romantic
Yeah.
look,
Uh-huh.
where he looks almost like, it's a like French court attire for the 17th century.
Well, according to history, according to Liberace for real, the 1945 movie, A Song to Remember, when Liberace was young, he saw that movie, and they had a candelabra on that piano in the film.
Oh, okay.
And the actor Cornel Wilde was portraying Chopin.
Yeah.
And so that's where Liberace got the idea. And then I got the idea from Liberace.
Right.
So.
And then people,
there's a candelabra here,
our dear viewers might might recall seeing you
this is the
around
candelabra.
town with that candelabra,
Let's see,
right?
this is my baby.
Because you take
right
this
here.
around town to your various gigs and stuff, to your MCAT shows.
Yeah.
And you might be riding the bus, Mountain Line.
Yeah, whenever
and,
you see
carrying
me,
your candelabra.
Yeah, I tell anybody in public, whenever they see me carrying this candelabra in public, it's got something to do with the piano.
Yeah, that's right.
And this particular candelabra is literally 100 years old. It was donated by Robin Elaine Dent. She's another pianist. And,
no kidding.
Yeah, she's a very good pianist too.
Yeah.
She's the lady that sang on that Lawrence Welk show that we attempted.
Oh, sure, that you've done some years ago.
Yeah, with the guitarist Chris. I can't remember his last name, but she donated this, and it was donated for my performances.
Oh,
and it
you've
literally is
held
100
on
years
to it
old.
all this time.
Yeah, but it is 100 years old. So I've had it for about 4 years or so.
It suggests, down here, I don't want to get caught in the weeds.
If you look at it, it has
a
the musical
harp,
symbol.
like a musical symbol.
The
on it.
lyre, I think is how it's pronounced.
The lyre, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like something you would pluck. Here, I'll hold it up for folks
Yeah,
to see.
and see,
It's
normally...
looking religious now to me. Like it's a monstrance.
Yeah,
or
and
something.
the newer candelabras have the round base part.
Oh,
or
is that
circle
right?
part.
Yeah.
This
And
is
this
the
one is
musical
square.
symbol, yeah.
Well, let's see how we're doing on time. Oh, we're not doing too bad.
Good.
So you had a few notes of things. So
Yeah.
we talked about you being at the mall.
Yeah, and those Asaph Adonai stories, I'm attempting to get a job with
Yes.
ABC News telling
That's right.
those stories.
That's on your list. Like you would like if a news organization.
Right.
How long are your clips? The ones you're
They're
making the
usually about
story?
4 to 6 minutes
Yeah.
long, and we don't get into people's personal lives.
No.
And,
your
'cause so
biographies
many-
are very respectful
Yeah.
and appreciative of the subjects you take on.
And I don't want to pick on the other news programs. It's just, they'll talk about the negative stuff,
Yeah.
the
Or
dark
what do they
side
call
of
it?
people.
The sensationalistic.
Yeah, and
which
that's
is probably never the whole story.
And that's not the kind of storytelling I want to
Yeah,
do. So
yeah.
I decided to focus on awards and contributions and accomplishments.
And here's another element is that a lot of the people that you have profiled
Mm-hmm.
are familiar to viewers of a certain age
Yeah.
because they were supporting characters in all these TV shows like Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea,
Right.
Star Trek. What are some of the others?
Well, so the fun stories are the stories you don't know who they are, but you know what they do.
Yeah.
Like I did a story on the actor that plays Commissioner Gordon on the Batman TV
Yeah, right.
series. Those kind of stories. I've done stories on the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
And the actresses that do the voices. Mod Squad, the television show from the
Yes.
past, had the hippie flair
And
to it.
the nurse of Star Trek who was married to its creator?
Yeah, Majel Barrett.
Yeah.
She was married to Gene Roddenberry. I did
Yeah.
a story on her, and I also did a story on Gene Roddenberry, and of course Liberace did a story
Yeah,
on
yeah,
him.
yeah.
And Bob Barker and Peggy Lee, and the list just goes on
It does,
and on.
it does, because you've done 71.
71,
And your
yeah.
72nd is going to be
Bob Denver.
Bob Denver
the actor
of
that plays
Gilligan's
Gilligan.
Island.
Well, he's associated with Gilligan, but he's done a lot of television shows, like
Yeah.
the Many Loves of Dobie Gillis.
Oh, that's right. Which preceded that, and he had like
just
he had a
goatee 'cause-
hipster goatee
Yeah,
from the
and
50s.
Maynard Krebs, I think, was the character's
Yeah,
name.
that's right.
And he was so funny in
Yeah.
that. So when I go to talk about him, I want to talk about his other works.
Yeah.
I'll mention Gilligan, but
And now a show also you did, and I know we better go pretty soon, Bob,
Yeah.
was of the nanny of the courtship of Eddie's father.
oh yeah,
You know, who
I
was
can't pronounce
Japanese
her.
American.
Yeah, I don't have my notes on me, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
I can't pronounce her Japanese
But you know
name.
what
but,
struck me is that you unearthed, the fuller side of that character. It was a person I hadn't thought of in decades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had no idea that she was quite a popular jazz singer in
She was
Japan,
a jazz
in
singer, just like
occupied
Ella
Japan.
Fitzgerald. That's
Yeah.
how good she was.
Yeah.
She was in that
And
category.
we had no idea, seeing her just in the courtship of Eddie's father.
Yeah.
They had stereotyped her a little
Mm-hmm.
in that she was very submissive and of like very few words and always sort
Right.
of bowing and looking away and extremely shy and so
Mm-hmm.
on. But you brought, a greater depth to
Yeah.
a lot of characters that have populated
Right.
childhood of people 50 and older.
Yeah,
let's
so I
say.
hope that the television audience, if they want to see any of these stories, it's Asaph Adonai stories. They can put
On
that
the
in the bar
YouTube,
on YouTube
right.
and just scroll and pick any story they want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see.
Of
There's
the
so many to
71.
choose from.
It's
yeah,
really
of the
worth a
71.
look.
71 stories.
Yeah.
And I have to thank Scott Ramp because
Yeah,
he does
Scott
the editing.
did all of the editing and technical work
Yeah, he's
for
the
you.
backbone of those stories. I
That's
just tell
right.
the story, but Scott puts the videos and the still pictures
Yeah, he
according
does
to
a
what I'm
great
saying.
job
yeah,
with the green screen too.
that's it.
Well, maybe Scott, you could show a story while we get our next set of guests. We're going to be right back to
Right.
talk about the upcoming Martin Luther King Jr. celebration in Missoula this Monday. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
That was fun. Thank you.
Are you showing the mother?
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Asaph Adonai, and welcome to Asaph Adonai Stories. Link Hayes, his famous solid, keep the faith. They were the current slang of the day used on this television show that we're going to talk about in a moment. He also had sayings, dig it, groovy, and pad. And we're talking about a television show from the past called The Mod Squad. The Mod Squad is an American crime drama series that ran on ABC from 1968 to 1973. It starred Michael Cole, Clarence Williams III, and Peggy Lipton. And before we get to talking about the characters, let me tell you a little bit about the show. The iconic Cultural Council Police series earned 6 Emmy Award nominations, 4 Golden Globe nominations, and 1 for Peggy Lipton. It also received the Directors Guild of America Award. And they had an episode called Mother of Sorrow in 1970. And in 1997, it was ranked number 95 on TV Guide's 100 greatest episodes of all time. Now, the synopsis of the Mod Squad, basically, Michael Cole, born 1945, American actor, he plays Pete Cochran. And his character, he's a rich kid living in the Beverly Hills mansion. He steals a car, so his parents kick him out of the house, and that's how he begins to work undercover as an agent, because after being kicked out of the house, he is taken by Captain Adam Greer, who grooms his character, and instead of being incarcerated, puts him to work undercover. Now, Cole has appeared on television shows like Gunsmoke, Wonder Woman, The Love Boat. He's also appeared on General Hospital. He's just quite the actor, so you can look up his character. The second character, Clarence Williams III, born 1939. Williams began his acting career 2 years as a paratrooper after being a paratrooper for the C Company 506 Infantry in the 101st Airborne Division. He started in the 60s and hit his stride playing Link. He appeared in Deep Space Nine and a comedy called I'm Going to Get You Sucker. But in Deep Space Nine, this is when he was older, and he also had a career that spanned 40 years, and he played Prince's tormented father in the movie Purple Rain in 1984. So you can look up information about Clarence Williams III. And finally, Peggy Lipton, born 1946. She plays the character Julie Barnes in the television series. And basically, her mother was running a prostitution ring, so she gets arrested for vagrancy to escape that lifestyle.
Okay, folks, we are back. And I'm liking my complexion a lot more. I just warmed up. With me is Jamar, Murray, and Alex, and they have all come to talk about the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration coming up in Missoula this Monday. Welcome. Thank you guys for taking the time to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Murray, do you want to talk about the committee that came together to put this celebration on?
Sure. Just a little bit about the history. The actual King holiday commemoration that we enjoy today, the legislation passed in, I think it's 1983, some years after his assassination. And in Montana, it really didn't, Montana didn't recognize it as a holiday until 1992. Then Professor Harry Fritz, he was also a legislator from the University of Montana, sponsored a bill, carried a bill in the legislature, and it eventually passed.
Yeah.
Prior to that, in 91, some students on campus, in conjunction with the Black Student Union and some other folks on campus, under the direction of, again, then President George Dennison. Dennison was an incoming president at that time, and he demanded that we do something to commemorate the holiday. They got together and formed basically the beginning of the first committee. The actual first event didn't take place until 1992, and the committee from the university still exists. The local community grassroots committee kind of morphed together because the semester changed. There was a semester change. They went to the semester system.
Oh, right, from the quarter. See, I attended under quarter system.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
You're telling me how old you are.
Right. Yeah, and there was a big break. I could sort of remember it. There was winter quarter, though.
Exactly.
And then when we went to semester, it changed stuff.
It changed, and it changed because the students weren't in for the holiday.
Right.
So the community committee got together and decided to do something on the actual day of the holiday to commemorate Dr. King, and we've been kind of moving forward since then.
Great. And Jamar, Empower Montana is the fiscal agent, right?
Absolutely, yes.
For the event. And you guys, I mean, this fits right within the mission and focus of Empower Montana. And do you want to wax a little bit about what that is, like what Empower Montana sets out to do every day?
Absolutely. Empower Montana's mission is to create more just and inclusive societies, and we do that by really focusing and building on communities, because we just really believe in the philosophy that communities have the support and resources that they need, and just sometimes need support in being able to actualize them. And this community and this community celebration from MLK Day is just an example of that. Murray mentioned that that it grew from the community and Empower. Even though Empower Montana is a fiscal sponsor for it, it's part of our philosophy and mission to ensure that this event isn't just seen as an Empower Montana event, but it really is a community agency. And we believe in utilizing platforms while we can, and we are really honored, and we're honored to have the opportunity to utilize our platform as a community nonprofit organization to support it.
Right, Alex, let's bring you in. Did you learn about being on the committee? Is that your role in the day of celebration?
Yes, that will be part of my role, and I'm also the racial justice engagement specialist for Empower Montana.
Okay.
But I will be helping out throughout the day and for all the weekend events.
Excellent. Murray, how did it start? The committee, does it meet every month leading up to the event, or? There's your mic.
Sorry. We've had different meeting times. We usually start a few months before the actual event. There's a lot that goes into it, and Jamar can tell you some of the logistics from that standpoint. But it's contacting people with the venue, it's contacting performers, it's securing donations, it's all sorts of different things that happen. So it takes quite a bit of effort to kind of pull this thing together. So to answer your question specifically, yeah, we meet sometimes several times after the event to kind of talk about how the event went and things we can do better next year. And then also we start planning sometime in, I think it's September or October for the event that happens in January.
If somebody's watching, and Lord love them, they might be, and they want to help, to be on the committee, what ought they do to get involved, with the planning and all the volunteering that must go into putting it on?
Okay, I'll pass the mic to Jamar and he can tell you a little bit more.
Sure. Absolutely. So if folks are looking to get involved with the MLK Day Committee, you can shoot either myself or Alex an email. My email is jamar@empowermt.org. Alex's is alex@empowermt.org. Or you can just look at our website. It's www.missoulaMLKday.com and hit the Get Involved section as well. But
Okay.
we're welcoming. We love more community support.
Excellent. I've got the cheat notes, but you can certainly chime in as well. And why not bring my cheaters, my glasses? But I could see that a youth rally is being held at Roxy Theater at 5. So everyone's invited? Youth only? What's the deal?
Yeah. Pass it over.
So everyone is invited. This is going to be led by the youth from our local schools. But we do also have other events going on, starting on Saturday and Sunday, and then going in through Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know, because I
that's
just,
all right.
I went and typed this out or whatever.
That's okay. I can discuss some of that.
Yeah, please.
So on Saturday, we have Asia Sherrard, who's going to be at the Missoula Art Museum doing a workshop talking about Blackout history. And that is for family and kids. So that's all welcoming. And that starts at 11 a.m. and goes until 12:30 p.m. And then after that, there is another class starting at 1 p.m. That is also at the Missoula Art Museum, and that is Let Us Be Dissatisfied Until a Look at Black Art and Civil Rights. And that will also be led by Asia Sherrard, and that is January 18th at 1 to 3 p.m., and that will be at the Missoula Art Museum. And then on Sunday, there is a movie. There's a movie at the UC Theater at the university, and that movie is Awake, A Dream from Standing Rock. And there is a discussion before and a discussion after, and so that would be pretty much from 5 to 7. And for more information, you can get on Facebook and look up Martin Luther King Day, and that would kind of take you to our link, the Missoula MLK Day Committee. So that's really where a lot of the information will be. And then that kind of leads us into Sunday, which Jamar can kind of explain in depth.
And you have a mic.
Yeah,
You're covered.
No, good. Yes, and so Sunday we are having, on Monday rather, with the day of the event.
Right.
Right. So Monday, the day of the event, January 20th, we kick things off at 3 o'clock. We're having another film in discussion, another showing of Awake, A Dream from Standing Rock, and that's over at the Roxy Theater starting at 3, and that'll be over around 4:30. And from there, we'll roll right into our youth rally, which is led by, as Alex mentioned, local youth leaders, and they're sort of talking about the intersections of economic and racial justice. And that youth rally goes from 5:30 to about 6 o'clock, and we've got a shorter walk. We normally walk across the Hagan Street Bridge.
Right?
Yep, absolutely. We wanted to get a little bit ahead of the weather and move the youth rally inside this year, so we're a little closer to our venue. So we've got a shorter walk this year from the Roxy over to St. Anthony's Parish, where the community celebration will be. The community celebration goes from 6 to 8, and during that time we have our keynote speaker is Rabbi Lori Franklin. Our MC is Lenny Peppers. We've got a really star-studded lineup, I think, of some awesome folks from around the community.
Oh, that is great. And folks, if you're watching, on the day itself, there's some great events, but I just wanted to backtrack and say the Missoula Art Museum is just around the corner from MCAT, on the corner of Patty and Pine, and it's a beautiful building. If you've never been there, this would be a great opportunity on the Saturday or Sunday, right, to check out that venue. Then the Roxy Theater is at 719 South Higgins. You really can't miss it. It's right across the street from the Senior Center's parking lot. And that's where the youth rally would go, but older people are invited to come and listen, I guess.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. All folks are invited to come in here, but it's an opportunity for our youth leadership to really engage in issues that they're passionate about, and promote and provide an opportunity for them to display their talents as well. Our youth are really powerful.
Yeah. We'd recorded the climate strike, and a bunch of kids were at the courthouse. It was very impressive. Mm-hmm. And then I want to mention St. Anthony's Church is at 217 Tremont Street. Now, if you're not going to the Roxy, people could also go directly to the church.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful church done in a sort of ecumenical 1960s look. So it doesn't have like very fixed pews or whatever. I don't know if you're scared of churches. This one is a little less. It's more like Lost in Space. There's a big spaceship over there.
So just one thing, if you are coming to the church, try to get there early. It's generally standing room early only. We had to leave our last venue because we really couldn't accommodate the number of people that showed up. So if you want to come in and get a seat, please get there early.
Good idea. And that early time would be prior to 6:30?
Just before 6. The event,
celebration at 6. So.
Correct. The event will kick off at 6 p.m.
So people start to arrive around 5:30 or so, but if you're interested in getting a seat, 5:30 is a great time to come in and try to do that.
And if you're fit and you can stand, go late and let the other people get the seats that need them. No, I'm kidding. I won't go on about my knee. Well, this is great. Is there anything you want to add? I wanted to make sure that people knew if they wanted to help put this on, that there was a way to reach out, and say, I would like to be on the committee. And then we've covered events at Saturday and Sunday at the Missoula Art Museum. And anything we may have missed?
Sunday is... So Saturday is at the MAM, and that would be family events starting at 11:30, and then adults for 1 to 3, led by Asia Shepherd. And then Sunday would be the first screening of Awake, and that would be at the UC Theater, and that is at the University of Montana.
On the third floor.
On the third floor.
There's an elevator if you can't do the stairs. It gets you up. And the parking is probably not going to be bad.
I don't think
Sunday,
so, yeah.
People
probably not.
There.
Yeah.
Oh, good, Alex. Thanks, because I knew I'd mushed something together.
Yep. And then that kind of moves into Monday, and Monday is set so that you can attend all the events if you would like, or you can attend things as what is fitting for you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because people used to say, at least around here, it's a day on, not a day off, and that people, in honor of King's legacy, would seek days where they did stuff, you know, for the community.
Yeah.
So there may be stuff the city's planning, but
Absolutely,
I haven't
and there's another. There's also as part of MLK, part of our events, we're also doing a food drive as
Okay.
well. There will be food bin locations at the Roxy, over at St. Anthony Parish, and in the Davison Honors College as well. So we're inviting, like you mentioned, that service is a big component. Servant leadership is a big component of Dr. King's legacy as well, and we're looking to engage in that as well. So if folks have canned goods, non-perishable goods, please feel free to bring them with you to any of those locations.
Okay.
Now, one last thing, just relative to the university. The university is still active in these events, and I know that on Thursday afternoon, I believe, or Thursday late evening, there is a talk by keynote by Missoula Cox. She was one of the former students of Black Student Union, and she now is working with the Montana Racial Equity Project. I'm just not sure about the location there, but if you call Empower Montana, they can get you that location as well. And there's a couple of other things that are going on. There's always readings that are done by some of the student athletes on campus. They go out to schools and read for kids and those things. So it's a pretty full week of activities. So if there's something you're interested in doing, please attend. And I'd just like to say thanks to the Missoula community too. You guys have been great in terms of supporting events like these, and I appreciate that.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Jamar, Murray, and Alex, for coming and telling people about the event. I've got somewhere back there, Scott, I've got a clip of, or you could get it, it's the last Martin Luther King Day, or it's Diversity Day. Yeah. So maybe we'll play that I'll go see if there are any more guests. If not, I'll come back and talk to you. But thank you so much, you guys, for being here.
Thank you.
Noah, and we'll be right back after this.
The Let Me Be Art project gave students the chance to consider what parts of themselves could use a little more support and appreciation. We will now have a chance to have our youth leaders introduce themselves to you and share about their contribution to the project. So if you guys just want to share about what you did.
Okay. Okay. Guess we'll keep it first. Do you wanna? What? Do you wanna share about what you put on your square? Oh, I don't want to. Okay. Do any of you want to tell the audience what you put on your square and why?
Art's up to our own interpretation.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Do you want to just say hi and say your name? Or should we just give you a round of applause for being awesome? Well, I hope you all got to take a look at all of the squares downstairs. They were pretty powerful, and it was a really, really awesome project to get to witness. So thank you all for contributing and leading the way on that project.
Sponsors, here's a shout out to our sponsors. Sponsors, thank you. We could not put on this event without the generosity of our sponsors. Be sure to support these businesses and organizations because they support diversity, youth leadership, and community. Thank you so much to the Missoula Art Museum for helping us host Diversity Day in this beautiful space. And thank you to Blackfoot Communications, Human Resource Council, Clark Fork Storage, Good Food Store, Mood Boutique, MCAT, Bernice's Bakery, Big Dipper Ice Cream, Alternative Missoula 101.5, The Green Light, Black Coffee Roasting Company, Rock and Rudy's.
Show bass.
No, Summit.
Oh, we're back already. Well, look, we're back. We're back. I'm here with representatives from Summit, Mike and Jordan. John. Sorry, John. Yeah, I just saw you like Wednesday.
He gets Jordan comparisons.
Yeah, really. So, you want to tell people about your group?
Yeah, so quickly, we're both employees of Summit Independent Living Center.
Right.
A local nonprofit that's existed here in Missoula for over 30 years, and there are, it's part of a collective, nationwide, I believe, over 400 centers for independent living across the country, 4 in Montana. And, you know, I've gone through trainings that last for days on what independent living is. But one of the founding people back in the 70s was a college student with, there's groups of college students that mobilized around the same time around access and, hey, we want to go to the football game, we want to go on a date, we want to go, you know, without these like grand ambitions of a movement, they just wanted to get stuff done. So their organization kind of led to this independent living philosophy, which led to centers. And quoting Ed Roberts, one of those founding young people, he was asked in the 70s, what is independent living? And he just looked straight at the audience and he said, it's the fundamental belief that every person has a future.
Nice.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of programming and a lot of detail to go in, but that's the basic understanding. If you walk through our doors or any of our offices, you know that every employee, fundamentally, you have a future, and let's have a conversation about what that looks like for you as a person with a disability. So.
Because a lot of people, you know, they may be led by the culture to think, well, this is it, you're just screwed, right?
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
oh, your life's really over.
Yeah.
So is there anything you'd like to do?
Yeah, let's make you comfortable. And,
right,
I'm like,
right.
But no, we say a lot throughout our programming that, you know, everybody can do something, nobody can do everything. So the disability not being the absence of goals, like a lot of people kind of view it, but the understanding that those goals exist, we're just going to find a different way to get there.
Yeah.
And, you know, that can be a really fun process. So.
No doubt.
Yeah,
so Center for Independent Living exists, right, to provide like encouragement, like a kind of, I get a psych bolstering feeling off you guys, like right now, right? Like is that like it's not like an organized therapeutic situation necessarily, but you've had training, like a background, like the mindset of people that are challenged all the time, like how to keep that sunny side up, like how to keep that sense of perseverance up.
For sure. Yeah, that's a big part of what we do is, you know, it's peer driven. So, you know, rather than looking at a person with a disability and saying you have to be fixed in order to, you know, live your quality of life by a doctor or a psychiatrist, which has its place, but at a certain level, you need those people you're working with to have an empathy for what you've been through. So, you know, as a person with a disability, you know, I've been through that. So let's take those next steps together. Is a lot of.
And the other stuff you guys can do is like referrals, right? Like somebody says, well, I don't think I can, you know, stay out of institution because now I can't do this, that, or the other thing. And then you can, with all this experience, help people find the assets they might need, like adaptive technologies and things that they may never have thought of.
Housing, stuff like that, Social Security.
There's so many great programs in Missoula, but it can be overwhelming to you know, be sitting in your home or, you know, a family home and where do I start? So
sometimes just getting out of your home with transportation is like even hard.
Yeah, like I didn't tell you guys, but you know Maddie?
Well,
he thought, so, okay, I'm going to back up for you folks at home. And I should have said at the beginning of the show that MCAT offers a tour and training of our facility because we're also set up so that you can make your own TV show. So anyway, these guys came down on the second Wednesday. It's every second Wednesday at 5:30. Except Maddie, who thought it was at 7. So like as soon as you left, I got a call, and it was Maddie, and he was at the back door because I told his mom that's where the elevator was.
Oh, okay.
So he was with paratransit, because Maddie uses a wheelchair, audience at home, and so she had called the day before and said, my son has an appointment, and I was like, okay, like what? And she said, I need to call paratransit. Where are you located? And so I was like, yeah, but then I thought, I hung up the phone without saying, this is the accessible part of the building, see? So I called her back, but she didn't answer. So I left a message saying, oh, be sure to tell your kid to come to the north entrance because there's the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
But if I had talked to her, see, I would have been like, no, it's at 5:30, not 7.
Yeah.
But we had a good time
that's good.
anyway,
Yeah, that's what
you
you
know.
I left messages too.
Yeah.
Don't
Did
worry.
you?
Yeah, we
Okay.
did a
We'll
nice
see,
little.
yeah. Trial and error.
Right. But, you know, so for Maddie to get around, he can use Missoula's paratransit, right? But they only run, like I asked him about it, he said, well, they run to 8 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you're done.
Yeah,
And
not on Sundays.
you need like a doctor's note. You also need a referral, I believe,
Oh,
to do
is
that
that
kind
right?
of thing too. So
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool that it was there, but you know, these kinds of issues come up from my set because, you know, parents, like I'm going to turn 62. So my mom is 88. Like, how long can she drive? And I have a lot of other friends, parents that I've kept up with over the years. They're all facing that same issue.
Yeah.
And to them, it's devastating
Yeah.
to not just be able to go where they want to go.
Yeah, when it's the services used to get to A to B, but it's also what we're finding and I've been working on is just that sense of community for people.
Yeah.
Whether you can even be a young person who graduates high school, and even if you have a bad experience in high school, it's still where you find community. That's where
your friends are.
your friends
Yeah.
are. And the same with, a lot of people that are aging or retiring is work is that center. That's where you feel a part of something.
Yeah.
So when you transition away from those things, what exists in the community to kind of fill that void?
Right,
and
right.
kind of nurture that, being around, being a part of something. So,
And
yeah.
I don't know, Scott, did you show the website? I just want people to get like an overview at home. So, like if you're like me, everything goes in one ear and
Yeah.
out the
Yeah,
other.
absolutely, yeah.
But if they see like this image, oh, that's totally cool. Like you
Yeah.
got this state like of the rising sun.
Oh yeah.
And that's the area in which Summit works, is the
Counties,
blue.
yeah, and the blue is
Oh,
where
got
Summit
it.
Independent Living
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Yeah.
Has satellite offices all across the
Tyler
state.
in our office. Yeah, he's great with graphics.
Yeah, that's totally cool. So if somebody is watching and they're coming up with, like this is resonating with them a little, they can just contact you, right? Like
Yeah.
through the website,
And-
give a call, something.
And we're part of a very unique program at Summit too, because we're located at Base Missoula in the Warehouse Mall.
Yeah, yeah.
And we offer all types of programs. We call it all ages, all abilities. And we kind of just make it a community center where people can come in and play games, do all abilities yoga, do some art, whatever really works
That's
here.
nice. So you're making like a community center. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the idea really generated a few years back, and with this idea of community. Like the game of tag is very universal to people. It's very elementary.
True.
So the first thing you do if you're making up a game or you're playing like freeze tag is you establish base. So that universally means if my hand is here, whether it's the couch or the monkey bars,
Safe.
if it's here, no matter how stressed out I am, you can't mess with me now.
Right.
I can take a breath, I can make a plan, but I can't stay here. I always have to take what I learned or that rest and go back to the game. So the thought, starting 6 or 7 years ago, was wouldn't it be nice if life is the game, if we knew at any age, you knew where to run in your community and put your hand and say, no,
Yeah.
not here. I don't have to pretend here.
I can be myself. Yeah.
And then base the programming on interest rather than label. So so we're obviously way accommodating to those that have physical disabilities and also non-apparent disabilities, but we don't want it to be that program for those people. If you come to our
Yeah.
improv class, we want, whether you're a small business owner, retired professional, grade school student, the main reason you're there is for improv, and whatever we need to do to accommodate that, we're gonna meet you where you're at, but kind of build community that way.
Right, because you guys you did comedy. Are you still on the comedy circuit?
Oh, yeah, you're still doing that?
Absolutely, yes.
Because I know that like Kyle McAfee, I've like seen you guys in videos, and like Roxy was doing some comedy stuff and so on. And so when you say improv, is that the same sort of idea, like doing skits, like improvisational?
Yeah, our improv
theater?
is pretty much it's kind of like self-paced, so it kind of gets you used to like talking in front of people.
Yeah.
Or if like say you're going to come on the show, we didn't really get like a blueprint, and you just kind of roll with it. So we kind of prep people for like interviews, and we just kind of go with like yes and just kind of roll it.
Interesting,
By accepting the offer instead of saying like no, it can allow you to take you to other conversational places that you've never been before.
Yeah.
So the idea that life is inherently improv, we don't call it that.
Yeah, right.
But no one ever hands you a script and says, hey, this is what everyone's going to say today. This is how you respond. So, at most we get an agenda.
Yeah, yeah.
So, our success or failure is based on the dialogue we make up. So, and people don't believe it, but John and I, we both went to Hellgate, and we're incredibly introverted.
Right.
So it took things like improv to get us to be able to essentially fake it when we need to.
Yeah, right.
But it's super fun. So we do free classes of the community every Thursday, 6:30 to 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I know it as the Spaghetti Warehouse. The
That's
Warehouse Mall is
Yeah.
on this very same Spruce Street
Yeah.
as MCAT is, but to the west.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Like you hit the bumpy railroad tracks of the Bitterroot Spur, and by God, you've gone too far if you came going to the west. But anyway, like, is it 725 West
Yeah,
Alder?
That's
yeah.
exactly what it is.
Suite 4. So it's kind of like a
You guys
labyrinth.
almost get like two streets, because
Yeah,
like
we get
Alder
Alder,
goes
yeah.
like
Yeah.
this way, and Spruce is narrowing that way.
We're just a little sort of sandwiched in between
Yeah,
the two.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of fascinating what you were saying, because, like, for instance, I've got a really good friend, an old boyfriend who's Parkinson's, diagnosed with Parkinson's early onset. So Sean was 48 and diagnosed with Parkinson's, and that is now 11 or 12 years ago. Oh, not 12. I'd know if it was 60. 10 years ago, let's say. But here's a change that happened. As his appearance became a little less than ordinary, people started looking at him sideways. So for him, like, he'd say, well, I know I could really use a wheelchair to get on an airplane, especially at the beginning of the day, like his movements are really erratic, he has to take drugs all the time. Well, he doesn't want to do it because he feels self-conscious. Everyone is looking at me, oh, look at that guy in the wheelchair,
For sure,
right?
yeah.
And then if he feels better during the flight and he can get up and sort of walk,
Yeah.
then he thinks everyone's looking at him, saying, look at that guy, he faked it.
Yeah.
He was the guy in the wheelchair, look at him, he's just walking out.
Right.
And what I had noted for him is life is such strong theater, but we don't recognize it. Like, you go to a store, that's like a skit, right? Like, how are you today? Oh, I'm fine. If you can't enunciate, I'm fine,
Yeah.
there's a problem. They're like, what's up with that person,
yeah.
right?
We were all raised on. We talk about it. We were all raised on the status quo is don't stare. That's not polite.
Yeah, right.
But we talk about all the time, like that's other people's normal. But for you, that person being stared at,
Yeah.
it's problematic. Personally speaking, because it doesn't teach people to be tolerant or engaging. It teaches young kids to ignore other human beings.
Yeah, like treat you like you're invisible.
Yeah,
like,
so I
oh,
just-
that guy
yeah.
looks weird. Don't look at him.
Yeah, so I got yelled at for looking at him. So next time when I see someone like that, I'm not going to engage. I'm going to ignore.
Yeah.
And, it's disability. It's, the color of your skin. It can be a lot of things. But, that's part of the conversation. The community center, we like to talk about those things.
Yeah.
And see, what if that's the status quo, what we can do collectively to change. And not accept that as we go forward.
Yeah. I know. I think that insight is really, for me to have gone through this with a really close friend and see that transition where they were becoming more and more self-conscious.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it wasn't unwarranted that people were treating them differently, as though they were on drugs or as though they were, marginalized. They're like, you're not normal, and so I can't engage with you.
Yeah.
Like, I remember we had gone, I won't bang on about it, we'd gone to a movie and he left early because he was getting, antsy, and he wanted to know if the movie let out, but I didn't know that. So when I came out of the movie, he was livid. Why? Because he was trying to ask people if the movie had let out, and everyone was completely ignoring him. Like, as though he didn't exist. He would be like, excuse me, did that film? And they're just walking
It's
right
not
past
funny.
him.
It's very relatable.
Yeah,
That's
right.
funny, yeah.
It's like totally.
Yeah. People make a lot of horrible
So
assumptions.
that's important aspect. But some other work that you were saying you're doing is like referral. Like someone says, now I can't hold a job. How do I apply for Medicaid? Right? Is that it before Medicare?
I mean, the thing we would do is, and I say, a lot of people will come in and say, I can't live on my own or I can't work anymore.
Yeah.
But then the start of the conversation is, well, is that really true? Or can we introduce you to some new technology or a new way to do it so you can stay in your home or you can keep a job?
Right.
Or we're in constant need of volunteers and things like that. So,
Oh, wax on about that a little, because often I say, you viewer at home, if this subject interests you, get a hold of some independent living and see how you can help.
Yeah.
So how can people help?
Well, I would say the first thing to do is show up to some of our bass programs at the same time, like showing up to improv and seeing everyone perform. Just coming to our shows, we do things like bass showcases where we try to get as many people from our shows with or without disabilities on stage. So
Comedy, improv, sketch, music, dance.
it becomes the norm that
poetry,
way
yeah.
by everyone seeing it and just by supporting your local bass center is the number one. We have an art group that we're trying to build. Show up to the art group. Stuff like stuff like that.
And if you like professional wrestling, we have a club for you.
Oh yeah.
Is that right?
This is something that got brought. We're a big fan of like the students that come in of any age, because when you come into bass, you're a student and a teacher. That's one of our
Interesting.
principles.
Cool.
So we're always getting referrals for like, hey, this doesn't exist in the world, or it's in a, it's in a building I can't get into. So, but one of them was professional wrestling, which I hadn't watched since I was a kid. But two of our consumers started a group, and it's become one of our most popular and fun groups.
And now I watch wrestling. At the same time, now I'm like caught up in some.
And everybody that
AEW.
comes has a opportunity to create a character.
Right.
So you decide if you're a heel or a hero, and then you decide your entry music, and we have all these storylines. We checked with the insurance; we can't actually wrestle.
Right.
And they won't let us do.
Which is why we came here.
Yeah.
We got the rubber floor. in
Yeah,
this
I
We're
room,
going to
you
use the
know.
power of editing to figure out
Yeah.
some of that stuff.
Yeah. Or like
there
if
you
we do
go.
it during a live show, it's all the drama and the smack talk.
Right.
And then we decide who the winner by drinking a LaCroix or
Right.
rolling D&D dice for damage.
Oh, that sounds really fun.
It
though.
is. It's wicked.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
The Hangry Hobbit is my.
Yep, I'm
wrestling
the
persona.
bearded witch, Virgo Moon.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow, yeah.
I'm a heel.
Yeah.
I make
Oh, you are? You're
I
just
go out and I make
okay.
everyone mad, so
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the hero can come in. And
So it's a
save
way
it.
like you can create alter egos and have
Yeah,
a pretty
yeah.
good time.
For
like
sure.
that.
And something that's great about bass is maybe there's a program we don't even know about yet that no one's presented to us,
Yeah.
but maybe we can get it up and running by providing a space for it. Kind of similar like what goes on here. Like it's,
That's kind of true. Like we're up for whatever people want to create.
Yeah.
That's our whole
Yeah.
trip, right? And we just sort of say, you take responsibility, you're solely responsible for its content. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just so that we don't get sued. God
Yep.
forbid. Well, I don't want to keep you guys. What time is it? I meant to put the clock there. 4:53. So we have some. He says there's 7 minutes. That may be too many.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything you want to add before we sign
We're both
off?
comics. We can fill the time.
Yeah,
if you want.
let's go.
I mean, one thing about Bass and Summit has been hugely supportive. We're about to turn 5 years old as a program. So Summit's been around for over 30, but the community center is about to turn 5. And it's really been a vehicle to collaborate with a lot of other organizations in Missoula. So, we work really well with the Roxy. The Roxy and Power Montana is going to come in and do
excellent.
some work with us soon.
Yeah, they were
We're
just
really
here.
excited
Those were the
about that.
guys leaving.
Yeah.
So it's been fun to get the.
We teach an improv camp with Parks and Rec every year, so we do a
that's
half-day
really
camp
great.
to help us raise money at the same time. So it's always fun.
So and it really Missoula's homegrown comedy is something John was instrumental in starting, but his Bass and homegrown have kind of grown up together. So we have,
that's that's what I've seen. Missoula's homegrown comedy. That's what I was thinking of.
So a lot of, and Summit offers we get, like, as comics, we get to use the space as rehearsal for volunteering. So that's the other incentive for coming into volunteers.
It's not bad.
If you want to come in and volunteer for an improv class or an art group, the potential to use the space for your own needs. If you need a birthday party.
Right.
Kinds of things
We
like
also do birthday parties there. We host birthday parties, and we also do improv birthday parties. So so we can be interactive, and it's like one of the few activities where you can feed the children cake first.
Yeah.
Because that only gets them more inspired to be on stage.
They're like, slightly sugared up.
Write it out.
Totally okay. Yeah, it's like we're going to need all the energy we can get.
8 out of 10 kids end up napping on the way home.
So people are watching too, and they're artists, and they say, well, I want to share, this art that I do. That may be an unusual medium, or even like artists that do a collaborative effort of some sort.
Yeah.
That would be pretty good for them.
Yeah, we're also we're looking this new year to start getting in on the first Friday art shows too at the same time. So
good for you.
So we just want to just allow the space. Plus, it allows more people to see the space and kind of come and check it out. So it's one of the.
So you think you would do exhibits or do improv comedy plus exhibits on first Fridays?
Yep, we've done all the above before, and we're looking to just kind of. Everyone has manic schedules sometimes, so it's like trying to get back into the groove of things.
Yeah, and we love going other places. We just did our last holiday showcase at the beautiful new Zach building.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was in there. It was a memorial service, but it was pretty amazing.
And to have, the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, obviously, does its best to like control, make sure public spaces are accessible.
Right.
So like to view art, the law says you have to have an elevator.
They're working on the elevator.
Yeah,
right?
and you have to have seating. But the law doesn't say anything about what if I'm a performer?
Yeah, how do I get on stage?
How do I get on stage? So there aren't that many stages in Missoula or anywhere where it's easy for someone with mobility to get on.
It.
So we were so happy to see the Zach from day one. Like that was a huge emphasis for them.
They have that on their stage.
They have a lovely ramp.
They should have used it at this memorial service because everyone was using the stairs and half of them nearly lost their lives mounting the stage.
But,
well, I'm glad I know that now. I would have pointed
and
it
they
out.
love showing it off too. Like,
there were a lot of hippies. They're just like slightly older than me. So it was very sobering, both the memorial service and the fact that most of the testifiers could not mount the stage. I was like, okay, it's like that, right? Like, like life is a series of adjustments to potential losses. And it's just what goes on. Somebody had called me and they were complaining that people at city council don't stay on mic. They said, is there any way you can tell them? And I was like, no, we're locked away in this horrible room off the alley. I can't tell them. But I said it's like so many things, like not everyone does the bad thing. So that you never get an unalloyed, like life really stinks or life is great. It just keeps changing between like great and stinky.
You're just
like all the time,
constantly
right?
in the gray.
Well, you're not necessarily. I mean, it revs up and it plummets down. But
I did that dance 8 times today.
Right. Like to characterize anything is always a lie. It's always a lie because it's always more complicated, more nuanced, more shifting. There's we do this Saturday animation every Saturday 1 to 5. And there's a kid who comes that's diabetes type 1, right? And I thought he had like a cell phone strapped to him. It was his insulin pump. And I'm like, is that cell phone strapped to you? But it kind of refers to like what you're saying, where you get in trouble for noticing difference, and then sometimes you put your foot in it. Like I felt really bad. Like I was like, why is that cell phone strapped to your body? Oh wait, there's like a tube coming out of it.
Saving
and he's
your life.
like, no, that's my insulin pump. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And he's like, well, don't be. I've never known anything other than this, which is also kind of
that's true. Yeah, everybody has a different normal, and that's
right.
Like I think we grew up saying like there's no such thing as normal. Was the after school special?
That's right. That was the after school takeaway.
But it is. It's just understanding that your normal is different from mine. And that's not a bad thing inherently.
Well, I do hope that people are watching and they know someone that could use Summit services, or you feel like you could use Summit services, and it could be something like Parkinson's, right, which changes people's mobility over time.
I mean, that's
profoundly.
One of the biggest things, especially with students, and speaking personally, is this view that there is a hierarchy, that somehow this is more of a disability than this.
Oh, right.
And it's because of the symbols we use. It tells us where to park and pee. It's a white bald guy in a wheelchair. That doesn't describe me or John or half the people. So, but it's whatever your relationship with disability is, whether it's personal or if it's a family or member or friend, that's check us out.
Right.
The website, thank you for putting that up.
Maybe do it again. I was saying we have 1 minute. Oh, and then Facebook. So Facebook, would it be Summit or Base would be better to go to on Facebook?
For like the improv and the community center, it would be Base Missoula.
Okay.
And we tell people all the time, like, I personally, like there's all kinds of programs I want to go to, but I get anxious because I
Yeah.
don't know what it looks like, and I don't know.
Right. That's what how I
Yeah.
feel. People need to know where the bathroom is
Yeah.
before they go to the facility.
So we have a ton of some video, but a ton of pictures of our different programs. So
Cool.
if you're thinking about it, that's a great place to get a feel for
Right.
kind of the
I
characters.
guess now we
have.
gotta go.
No,
Now look at that. We had all this leisure.
Yeah. this is-
Well, Mike, John, thank you so much for
Thanks,
taking the
Joel.
time
Thank you.
today.
This
has been lovely.
Yeah, you know that. And thank you, dear viewer, for taking the time to watch this first 2020 edition of Missoula Live. If you know of a group and you'd like to see them on this program, give us a call. At MCAT, the number is 542-6228. For MCAT, I'm Joel Baird. We'll see you next time.